Well, Colin, just a very quick word on football first of all. The job done in the FA Cup and a nice tie to look forward to as well.
Definitely a great tie. Two banana skins, I suppose. We could have come stuck in. A lot of teams in our league certainly had problems. One or two results led to one or two people parting company with their clubs. We've avoided that. We've got a plum tie at home to Chester. Really looking forward to it.
It's been a good September for the team. Not so much in sort of negotiating a couple of really big FA Cup tests and getting some points on the board, but also in terms of momentum as well, because there was a while there where everyone felt a little bit frustrated with how certain things had gone. Yourself, management, players, fans, I'm sure. It's slowly starting to come together, isn't it?
Yeah. I think everybody's been a little bit frustrated, and rightly so. No one more frustrated than myself and the manager. And we've certainly discussed this at length. We are not as far down the road as we'd want to be at the moment, with fitness of players and the squad strength and depth. We're trying to put that right. We're trying to play catch up, but we would admit that mistakes have been made, and those mistakes put us a little bit behind. And we are where we are. Going forward, we would hope not to make those mistakes. We need to learn from those mistakes at the end of the day, and that's what experience is. Experience is experiencing good times, but also experiencing poor times, and we certainly had one or two poor results of late, one or two poor performances, but they are down to us being a bit further back than we thought we would be at this stage of the season.
What accounts for that?
Losing half a team, some by design and some not. We obviously felt that Jordan Tunnicliffe was going to stay at the football club, having been told by him that he was going to stay, and therefore we decided that we'd let Keith Lowe go, because we felt Jordan's best position was on the right side of central defence and he would become our captain and leader. And then he changed his mind and left us completely in the lurch. There's no way we'd have let Keith Lowe go if we felt that Jordan wasn't staying. You just don't do that. But nonetheless, it happened, and we should probably have been a little bit wiser and waited till the ink had dried on the paper before we agreed to let Keith out of the building, because he was a major player for us and our captain. And then we lost Zane, Arthur, which obviously Arthur went with our best wishes to go and get into the league, and and a couple more that maybe we probably in hindsight should have held on to. But we are where we are, and we can hang the table and say it shouldn't have happened, but it has happened, and what we have to do now is put that right and admit the mistakes that have been made, be open and honest about it, make sure we learn from it, and this time next year we haven't made the same mistakes again in pre-season.
It would be arrogant to assume that because we're Kidderminster or because any other football club is any other club that you can't ever make a signing that doesn't work out, though, I guess.
I think the signings that we made, again, we did make mistakes on. We were hoping that they would be right. Daly in particular, we felt that he had all of the qualities that we needed: great size, good strength, character. But by his own admission, he didn't adapt to full-time training, and so that was a mutual thing at the end of the day. And that was one that we forced through quite quickly. And young Keeney, we were the same really. We were hoping that he would be ready, and he obviously wasn't quite ready for the levels we're at, and to fill Zane's shoes is quite difficult. So we made a couple of errors, and we looked to put those right quite quickly. We've now bought Jimmy O'Connor in, who we feel could be that leader, and that we've been missing, certainly with the experience he's got. It's a fantastic acquisition for us, coming in directly out of the league, where he's never played at this level before. It's a big call for him to do so, but he's trained with us for a couple of weeks and really enjoyed what he's seen, and can see that we're a very professional setup, and he wants to be a part of it for the long term, not just the short term, which is great. And we brought in obviously Joel Taylor at left back, who's a very exciting acquisition to cover that role, and one or two others that we think have got the potential to take us where we want to go, to be a better team than we were last year. That's what we want to do.
You're obviously, as a chairman of the football club, owner of the football club, and someone who cares a lot about it, very invested still in team affairs, the football side of things. Where people perhaps don't understand, the gaffer is very much the gaffer. There's I'm not suggesting there's a dispute about that, but that's very much the case, isn't it? You know.
He's the boss. We've had a lot of, well, listen, we've known each other for a very long time, but we're not afraid to say what we feel, and he's the boss at the end of the day, and the buck stops absolutely with him. He makes all the decisions. You know, I got an email before the Southport game saying I hope that I wasn't responsible for picking a team at Southport, and you know, hoping that I hadn't made the substitutions in the midweek in the Curzon game. I was in Spain, I was in a restaurant, so I'm going to make substitutions in the game at home to Curzon's beyond me, but I've never interfered in anything, and nor would I. I've got enough to do to keep this club afloat, rather than worrying about getting involved in John's job. And at the end of the day, John's more qualified than I am for that job. That's why we gave him the role. And yeah, of course he's made mistakes, but I've made mistakes, and Gardy's made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. But that's the beauty of this. We've now got a young manager who's got that experience under his belt. He won't make those mistakes again, and he'll be better qualified for the rest of his career. So we should actually be quite pleased that we've actually had to have and deal with, you know, one or two unsavoury moments this season, which, you know, hopefully will stand us all in good stead.
In the grand scheme, considering last year almost as a whole was you know, exceptional by some standards, it doesn't hurt to sort of have your nose rubbed in the dirt every now and again.
I think that everybody regarded us as the best team. We didn't go up for I think for lack of experience and a little bit of naivety. Has to be said, you know. But it wasn't for the want of trying. We played some fantastic football. People are a little bit older and wiser when they come to play us, set up a little bit differently now. Certainly don't allow us to have the ball as quickly and as early as we're probably used to. So we have to work different ways. So it's more challenging, even on the training pitch tactically. It's more challenging for us. The type of play we're looking for might differ a little bit as well. So you know, we have to learn as we go as well. It's no good saying this is us. We're never going to change. We don't have a plan B. To use the thing that was levelled at us a lot last year. We have to look and adapt as well, and that's what we're looking to do.
You mentioned, just picking up on something you said there about keeping the club afloat and finances and that type of thing. The club, obviously, in terms of debt and things like that, is in a very healthy position without perhaps being cash rich. That's largely at your expense. Can you give us your...
It is, and that's because I believe in the project that we're trying to put together. I'm certainly not going to be putting my family's life savings into this project just to keep it going and just keep it ticking over, or just, you know, to keep the status quo. It's not what I'm about. I'm investing in the future of this football club. I'm investing, you know, my time, my energy, which is far more valuable even than the money I put in. People have got to think about what I was doing before and the loss of you know, opportunities for me to earn outside of this business. I've not paid myself for 18 months. So, you know, my commitment's unquestioned to this club, and it hurts me sometimes that people would actually say that, you know, that they question my commitment. I know what I want to do here. I'm brave enough to be able to do it, and I'm one of those people that wants to go out and prove myself and the people around me right, rather than not take that gamble, not take that risk, not take that leap of faith in if that's not too strong a point, that, you know, just sit back and let things roll. This football club just sat back for years, and we're struggling. We're dying. There's no question. We're dying. We should be dead, you know. But I came along and you know, I got the defib out and got us back to life again. And I want us to keep getting stronger and stronger. And I'm investing my family's money to make that happen. And make no bones about it. If it hadn't been for the money that I put in, there'd be no Kidderminster Harriers.
Why are you doing it then?
I want to make something special. I want to make something that we're all proud of. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave something for my family. I want to leave something for the whole town. I want to create a revenue stream into this community that there's never been the like of before, even from the days when we had a massive carpet industry. I want to bring students in. I want to bring builders in. I want to bring overseas investment in. I want to bring things that's going to affect everybody's livelihoods. People who own businesses are going to benefit because Kidderminster Harriers are actually on the front foot. People who want to work in different fields and get enjoyment from their job and get well paid are going to be doing so because Kidderminster Harriers are going to have make a difference in the community. That's what I want to do it for. If not, stay in Key Sports, very successful business. I was very successful at it. I could ride that pony right the way up until my dying day knocking the golf ball around at Enville Golf Club like I do. But no, this is what drives me, this is what gives me enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm then drips into every department in this football club, and that is mirrored and reflected back at me every day. And people who don't reflect that back, then there's no room for them to go.
Well, to use a crude phrase, if it is a Colin Gordon vanity project, if you like, for you it's a very expensive one, because I mean the risk is with you rather than with the football club if it doesn't work out.
Better off spending my money on plastic surgery if I wanted a vanity project. It's, I'm not interested in vanity, I'm not interested in ego, I'm not interested in pats on the back. I know what I want to achieve. I would love people to come with us. I'd like every business in the community, every person in the community to support the project. I'd like them to get involved because we're going to make a difference to everybody. And they're massive statements, and people sitting back there who've never really taken a risk in their life would say, oh my God, listen to him. But I'll do it.
It is a bit of a dream, isn't it? It's a heck of a vision.
It's a huge vision, it's not a dream, it's not something I haven't actually done before, it's not actually, people are doing this, for goodness sake. Gary Neville announces something that's not too dissimilar to what we're trying to do, not as good as, and he's lauded for it. I announce it, I'm a dreamer. So, if it's good enough for Gary Neville, it's good enough for us. I'm not really worried about what the class of 92 are up to. They get far more publicity for it, which is fine. But it can't be that bad, because they haven't made many mistakes. The class of 92, they're quite bright and clued in. Not as bright as us, but bright enough.
And in terms of cynicism, which is out there in every walk of life, when something new and something huge is proposed, what stops that from, if I were you, and perhaps my thing wasn't as thick, I might think, well, it's costing me a lot of money, I can't be bothered with this, I'm just going to walk out the door. So
in the main, I understand. Cynicism, yes, fine. Frustration, I understand. Saturday nights we get beat, everybody wants to vent their spleen, I understand, and we're all hurt. We always lash out at someone we love when we're really hurting. That's just the way life is, and I accept that. So I take no regard to it whatsoever. People will lash out and say stupid things. At the end of the day, in the cold light of day, they come back, and probably 2 days later they might consider what they've said is not the brightest thing. With regards to some of the harmful things that have been said, I mean, I heard that before Southport, the 4 players that were injured, our main 4 players you could argue being injured, they all said that there was a rumour going around that they were missing because they hadn't been paid, which is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody here has not been paid. Probably if you ask Helen, she'll tell you I'm probably the only chairman that's managed to achieve that. Everybody gets paid on time and exactly what they're due. So that was a harmful rumour to spread around. We're trying to recruit players to benefit this football club, and our own fans are putting rumours out there that we don't pay our players. Well, that could be harmful for us with regards to recruiting players. I mean, what player's going to want to come here when they hear that we don't pay the players? No one's going to do it. So that's harmful to the club. That's absolute nonsense, and it's completely and utterly damaging to the football club.
But is that where it becomes separate from football rumour and chatter, which we can all
it comes, you worry about agenda. You worry about people having agendas and vendettas. That's what you worry about then. There's certain people that have had their noses put out, and they're thinking, well, I don't want Colin Gordon at this football club for any stretch of the imagination, so let's go out there and try and do everything we can for him to fail, and then we'll pick up the pieces. That's what concerns me at the moment. There's a few people I think that have really got vendetta, and deal with it, it's fine, no problem. And in the main, I haven't got a problem with people who have a contrary view to me, but I don't know whether these people have a contrary view because they're not brave enough to actually come and tell me what they want. I have no idea what they're fighting for. If they're fighting because they think I'm going to fail and leave the club in turmoil, well, I won't leave the club in turmoil because the club will be protected. Okay? So what are their alternative positions? Is it that we go back to being a part-time team, live within our means and try and fight to do as well as we can? Great, but that means we'll stay at this level forever. And because of 7 full-time teams in this league now, 2 full-time teams at the top of the league as it goes, and are pulling themselves clear with 1 full-time team in us trying to catch up pretty quickly. So I don't believe that a full-time team won't win this league in the near future, but it certainly won't go up out of the league above, and certainly not going to be any part-time teams in League 2, which is where we want to go. We need to get ourselves ready for where we want to be now. But all of the work, all of the good housekeeping, all the good practice, lay all the foundations now for a team that can survive in the league. These things need to be done now. You can't just gradually get there. So the same people who are saying, hold on, you're running too fast, are the same people are saying, well, this club, Kidderminster Harriers, should be at least in the National League, or even in the Football League. And you can't have your cake and eat it.
But if trying to produce that result gives you a sort of lopsided feeling in terms of your resources, but why then sign a Dan Bradley or a James O'Connor? What was
I want to win. Because I want to win. I want to win it as much as any football fan that we have. Probably more. And I'm horrible when I lose, and I'm only used to winning. And the same as the manager and the staff and the players, we want to win. And you know, to do that, you need good players. To do that, you need to identify where your weaknesses are. Just don't kid yourself that you're ready when last year we obviously weren't ready. So we need to be better than. Now what we've done is made some mistakes to get us prepared for the start of this season. And maybe be a bit hard on ourselves because, you know, we're trying to rebuild the whole team. But, you know, nonetheless, you can't argue that some of the players that are coming in look good value. And now we need to build a team to take us forward, to achieve our aims and objectives, and that is, we want to be in the Football League.
The Golden Gate Super Draw is producing some good early results for us. We've obviously benefited a lot over the last 6 or 7 years from the KISS lottery. The two are both in existence. Is there a conflict there?
There's no conflict whatsoever. No conflict whatsoever. One's a weekly draw, one's a monthly draw, so there's no conflict whatsoever. We will gladly work alongside KISS with this matter. I don't want to see people saying I'm going to support the KISS draw, you know, forget the Golden Gate lottery, when that money's going into our youth structure to help us find the stars of tomorrow and help us have a positive influence on football in the area. You know, that doesn't make any sense, and these are the things that, you know, I'm hearing. At the end of the day, I would like everybody to support our lottery because it goes directly into the club. With regards to our relationship with KISS at the moment, I don't know where we are.
Why?
I don't know. I met with their board the other week. I liked some of them. Some of the guys I took to, I liked them a lot. And, you know, I'm trying to put sort of olive branches out to a lot of but unfortunately it's so slow. You know, I'm questioning whether they can sell tickets on the site. I've said let's talk about it. I haven't got a problem with you selling tickets in the stadium. Let's put down the rules and regs around that. No problem at all. Haven't come back to me. You know, I told them I wanted one of their members to come on into board meetings so they can inform their members about what's going on. They haven't come back to me. I said that I'd do a question and answer with one of their boards so they can answer any of the queries raised on any of the social media that they felt need answering for their fans. No one's come back to me. It's too slow. I asked them to do a fans forum in October. I can't do it until November. You wanted a fans forum, why can't you do it in October? It's not that difficult. You've got the room, you've got the people, the club will support you, and it's just, I'm just constantly chasing them to find out what they want, what they need, what their arguments are, what their objectives are, and I just can't find out. There's one or two people within that group that I'm uncomfortable with because I'm led to believe that they have their own agendas, but again, I don't know what their agendas are. No one explains to me what they want. No one says, have you thought about this? What do you think about that? What about that? Nobody says a thing. They all say, oh my God, this has happened or that's happened or the. No one ever comes up with any solutions. And I don't understand for the life of me what they're trying to achieve. We're not trying to cut them off at the knees and finish them. I'm trying to offer opportunities where we can work together. I think a proper supporters trust should have the bulk of the supporters in that trust and be a proper voice for the supporters in partnership with the football club. That's the way it should be.
Is it independent then, if that's the case?
I don't really care about independent or not. Look, we should both want the same thing, which is for the football club to thrive. So I really don't understand why it should be. If the football club's in danger of not thriving because of bad leadership, then the supporters trust is there to support or even to be the cushion that the whole club falls onto, and they pick the pieces up. But if you're closer to me and to the board and to everybody here that to know what's going on, surely you can see the danger signs before they happen. But they're just too far away at the moment. And it's not of my making. I want them involved.
Well, there's obviously a situation, you know, to be frank about it, KISS as an organisation clearly feels alienated in some way, but
They alienated themselves with that ridiculous statement they released at the end of last year. Which was in breach of boardroom confidentiality, and it was the wrong thing to do at the wrong time. completely the wrong time. As we were on the running to go and try and get into the league, they released a statement like that, which was inflammatory. And it burned all the bridges as far as I'm concerned. And then, because of that, three moderate board members of theirs resigned. Now, they argue that that's not the case, but I've asked those people and they actually have told me categorically that that was the case.
Explain what you mean by that, in the sense that in reaction to that statement,
yeah, that was inflammatory and the wrong time. Not the time to pick a fight. We're trying to get promoted and they want to pick a fight with the football club. It's just ridiculous. So I got upset with the people, but it was me that contacted them and said, look, this is wrong, let's get together and try and sort something out. We need to work together. And I'm forever chasing. I'm not going to stop chasing. I'm not going to say that's it. You know, they might want not to have a relationship with me, but I'm not going to not want to have a relationship with them. I think they've got a valuable role to play. But at the moment, running around screaming the house is on fire is helping nobody.
Well, there should be a relationship, to echo your point, in the sense that 7-8 years ago, Kissed alongside people at the club played a very big role in
so what I'm there to play a massive role in keeping the club afloat, and they may have to do that again. But you know, keeping all of their lottery funding at the moment in the hope to create a little bit of a slush fund to sort the fund, they'd have to do 300 years of lottery money to be able to support this football club now.
When you say they may have to do that again, you mean?
Well, that might be their idea. They might think this is going to fail. We'll be arm's length from the club, and you know we'll keep a pot of money back to help to save the club. The club doesn't need saving. The club needs investment. The club needs goodwill. The club needs everybody to get behind it and really be a shining beacon for the whole of football as the way football club should be run. To that end, the football club should have its independent supporters trust involved with the football club to be the perfect beacon for football. That's the way I see it, and that's what I'm constantly striving for. They might argue otherwise, but it's not the case. The door's always open here. Everybody knows that.
But and you know, moving Kiss to one side for a second, in terms of individual supporters, does it trouble you that, you know, we talked about the chairman's email account, which you get some contact through, the chairman's surgeries, the chairman's videos, all these different bits and pieces, that people still don't come and ask you?
That's very frustrating, because you know everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got opinion on everything, and some of that's qualified and some of it is not. But then, if you want to find out, come and ask.
You're allowed to have a contrary opinion, though, aren't you?
Of course you are. Everybody's entitled to a contrary opinion. But what I'd rather them do is research properly before they come up with entrenched positions that, in some cases, couldn't be further from the truth. So come and ask. You know, how many times do we sit here and say, come and ask? But they never do. So that frustrates me. We're talking about, I don't know, a dozen people, you know, out of thousands that you speak to. And, you know, so in the main, all I have to focus on are the people that really support the football club. I'm not saying that the others don't support the football club, they absolutely do. But really, if you've got major concerns, come and find out. Come and find out.
You spoke to some of them at very close quarters on Saturday night, didn't you?
Yeah. I managed to hitch a ride on the supporters bus and told them to keep it quiet, but of course they couldn't. But you know, it was a bit of fun, a bit of banter, and they're all right. You know, in the main, I don't want them to feel that I'm unapproachable. So I went in the bar beforehand and had a drink with one or two, and I don't want to feel that, you know, that. And I went to the crowd at Southport because one or two people, one person in particular, had upset me. And I wanted to find him and find out, you know, how he could come up with such a ridiculous statement, an ill-informed statement. And his argument was, "Oh, that's the rumour." You know, don't believe we should be fighting. I think we should be fighting for the same cause, to make this club great. That's what the cause. That's what I want everybody to do. So I don't want people fighting. I don't want people at loggerheads. I don't want people whispering behind their hands when somebody walks in the room. I want people brave enough to walk up to them, shake their hand properly, look them in the eye and say, "I don't like you because of this." And I'll say, "Okay, do you realise that?" And if we can work it out, we can work it out. But at least I know who they are.
To one or two, it may be the case that when Colin says, "Well, just come and ask me, come and talk to me," they may think that it's presented as confrontational, but I mean, dozens and dozens of supporters have come and
ever seen me lose my temper or want to, you know, I'm passionate. I'm absolutely passionate, but I'm also passionate about trying to explain what we are and what we're trying to achieve. Here's my passion. You know, violence solves absolutely nothing. So I've never resorted to physical violence. There's no need to. You know, it upsets you, makes you angry, it affects your family. You know, because you know people are like, well, if you move from Agra, I'll burn your house down. What does that mean?
You read that somewhere?
Yeah, I did. So what does that mean? If we move from Agra, I'll burn his house down. You've got to think about the consequences of burning my house down for a start. You know, which would be pretty horrific. So, you know, I don't understand people. I don't understand people as strong-minded and violent as that. Just don't. But if they want to find out why we have to do what we're doing, or why we're setting about what we're doing, I'll explain to them until the cows come home. As I said all along, the hardest thing for me is to stop talking as you'll keep looking at your camera to find out we've had 30 minutes yet.
Well, I think, you know, we're sort of in danger of ending on a bit of a downer and a bit of a grumble, because I know we're all very keen to put right one or two myths that, you know, you've mentioned, but as a general feeling, the place is very positive at the moment in every respect.
I think that the workforce is very, very positive, and it is a workforce now. People need to appreciate that this is not a cottage industry. We employ, you know, over 50 people or more. You know, we're probably one of the biggest employers in the town. So people need to understand but everybody comes to work with a smile on their face, and everybody is enthused, and everybody goes the extra yard. Everybody does that. And if they don't survive here. And not because I point them out, it's because other members of staff say, look, they're not our kind of people. So you need to be prepared to do 24/7, think about this club every minute of every day, but absolutely desperately want to come into work every day because you love it. And we're providing that environment for people. And it's a lovely, lovely environment to work in. It's a lovely environment to be involved in. And you don't have to be a yes man to be involved in it, although people kind of think that you do. Nobody succeeds with yes men. People have to have their own thoughts, their own beliefs, and be strong enough to be prepared to walk in to this office, knock the door and sit down and say, you're not doing this right, or this is wrong, or this ain't working.
We've all had those conversations.
I would hope we have, and we'll continue to. I'm no expert, you know, and I've never been, in any of the business that I've had, I've never been the main sort of authority on anything. Everybody's always shared. That's the way it's always been and always will be. So to hear that I just employ yes men and no one's ever going to argue me is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But that person who put that about, come and find out. Come and ask. Speak to anybody. Speak to Dave Moll, speak to Helen, speak to Adam, speak to yourself, speak to anybody, I don't care. You know, this isn't a communist state. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, everybody has their own views. And that's the biggest thing. These things that hurt at the moment are people making statements when they absolutely haven't bothered to find out the truth. So we're getting het up about this all the time, but actually this place is a hive of activity with bright, forward-thinking people in that will help us fulfil Colin's dream.
We do, you know, you touch upon it there, we need to stop doing this really, don't we? In the sense that it's not healthy.
No, this is the time now for the town, for the fans, the town, the community, employers, small businesses, big businesses, to contact us and say, right, okay, you're going to make this difference to the town, how can we help? Now you can do it one of two ways. You can say, right, okay, you're going to make this big difference to the town, how can we help? Or you're going to make a fool of yourself, let's stay away. So, let's draw a line. The ones who contact me and say, how can we help? Fair enough. We've had some good contacts over the last few weeks and some great sponsorships going through the roof. That's fine. But the ones who are staying away, they've stated their position. If they remain to stay away, they've stated their position. It's up to them. People are joining and thinking, hang on, if this does fly, I want to be first in the queue. What have you got to lose if you're a business getting involved with us? You've got everything to gain.